Hello.
Who else is on the line today?
I don't know.
Me. Are you going to speak, Your Majesty?
Yes.
Hello. It's you. This must be Jules. This is Jules1315 on Twitter. You may know her as Her Highness the Majesty, the Mother Hen, many other kind names that she's known as on Twitter. Jules looks after the TV Doc tweet chat account and has done since how long, Jules? When did you start looking after that?
Oh, I think it's been about a couple of years now.
A couple of years, but TV Doc itself, in terms of a little community, it's kind of older than that, isn't it? When did it begin?
I can't remember. It must be about 5 or 6 years ago. And it started off just as a hashtag, as a way for people to connect, really. And then somebody came up with the idea of making it a bit more formal and having a TV Doc account and things like that. And there was a chat that was run via the founder, if you like, of the official GB Doc, and he would run the chat every week. And there was he organised some conferences and things like that where a lot of us met up. And then stuff happened a couple of years ago that will kind of gloss over because nobody knows the full facts. And basically we were left without anybody like a figurehead. So with the tweet chat, a group of us kind of said, look, let's just pick them up and run with them and run them ourselves, because the tweet chats are for the community and we felt that they should be by the community, not just one person deciding what we should do. And so that's where I came in, and I've been there ever since.
Excellent. And you manage the account, so that involves, I know what it involves, but maybe other people don't know what it involves. Do you want to explain what you do in terms of managing the tweet chat account, how it all works?
Yeah, basically I regularly put out leading tweets asking for people to come up with topics to offer to host. And I also go to people and ask them, like if I know that they know a lot about a particular subject that I think might be interesting, I ask them if they would be interested in doing a chat. And then it has to go into, obviously, a diary. I have to book all the hosts in, and I have to make sure that the topics are repeated. So I have to make sure that they're spread out quite well. Then it has to be input onto the Type 1 resources calendar. Then there is, I have to think of everything. There's a guide that gets sent out to all the hosts to sort of do's and don'ts and things that might help them with their, think of their questions. And then on the night, or on the day before, I give them a password to the account, which has to be obviously regularly changed. And then it's just a question of being there for support if they need it on the night, or with thinking up their questions, with anything. Nobody is ever on their own on the tweet chat. And I've got a team now, and there wasn't a team before, but obviously life gets in the way, and people were busy with other things, and that they sort of it drifted off. And I managed on my own for a while, but I couldn't manage it anymore. So I've now got a team of, I've got Grinny, you see?
Yep.
She helps. We've got David Stevens, and we've got Annie Astle, and we've got Diabetic Dad on the team. And so between them, they all have their roles now. Somebody does the calendar, somebody does the rota, and we all basically strong-arm people. Mainly Diabetic Dad does. He does a lot of arm twisting to get hosts to come and do their stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to add on there. I got strong-armed into hosting when I hosted because it's one of those things. I think people sometimes feel a certain way about having to host stuff and things like that, and I was very much of the persuasion, if I've got time, I'll do it, and if I've got the time to think of some questions and stuff like that. But actually, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was. I thought I was going to be stressed out looking at people's posts and replying to stuff and things like that. But it was really, really enjoyable, to be fair.
I think that a lot of people do worry about that. And do worry about, oh gosh, this is, a big thing. There'll be lots of people talking, and will I be able to keep up? And I'm not very good at technology and things like that. But you honestly don't need to be. And at the end of the day, the tweet chat is a bit of fun. What it's meant to be is as inclusive as possible, and it's just people in the community having a chat about topics. And that's all it is. It's not, nothing gets recorded, no notes to take in, anything like that. You just have to ask the questions and let everybody else then do the talking. And it is good fun. I've not had one single host say, I'll never do that again. Not had one say that. Everybody's enjoyed it afterwards. You say to, even the nervous ones, and afterwards I'll go to them and say, how did you find it? Was it okay? Oh, it was brilliant. It was really good fun. I really enjoyed it, but I need to drink now.
Yeah, I think it is like a lot to, because it's not as much as you would expect it to be. It's very manageable, but it's a lot within that hour, because it is only an hour. It's not like anything massive, but it's a lot to mentally absorb. Like you're having a lot of conversations with people that you might not necessarily have conversations with on Twitter. Whether that be because you're just from different diabetic backgrounds, so you run in different backgrounds, but it's really enjoyable and it's very informative. I picked up my questions as jokes as well, because I didn't, the topic that I covered was quite a touchy topic, and I know a lot of people didn't want to talk about that. But it was nice that there was a facility there so we could do anonymous questions and things like that as well. That was absolutely great. So yeah, it was a really good thing. I really enjoyed it.
I'm not sure that you should refer to your topic as a touchy topic, bearing in mind it's about sex.
But it is a touchy topic. You should be able to say stuff like that. You should be able to talk about people's urethras if you want to.
I think so as well. I mean, we spoke about sex in the last podcast, or the podcast before that, and how it's taboo, but it's a part of most people's lives, even if it's just at some point in their life. It might not be a part of your life permanently, but it's a part of your life, and it can be difficult for men and women to talk about that openly, but it's going to have an effect upon your well-being, your mental health, and if diabetes plays a part in your sex life, and it may well do to a lot, for many people, then if it causes an issue for you, you should be able to speak about that. If it's not openly, but speak about that with a HCP. And I think when you do, when Harvey did a podcast with David a few weeks ago about sex, maybe that has helped to highlight it as an issue for some people as well, because I know Harvey had some DMs, and I certainly had some DMs. People before about those issues, but they're just anxious and shy and don't want to feel kind of, oh, I don't know what it is about sex and why that should be, because it's just a part of human nature. Why we can't talk about it, I don't know. And maybe when Harvey and David did that podcast, it has helped some people to talk about that. I don't know, perhaps.
I think there are some things. But I know in the past that complications is another touchy subject, isn't it? And lots of people don't want to talk about complications because that's the negative side of diabetes, etc., etc. But it's also a part of diabetes, and I think that because I think the community as a whole has got quite a good sense of humour, and they're informal chats and they're quite funny and light-hearted about potentially serious subjects, but it's a way of bringing those subjects out into the open. You know, let's talk about complications. When we had that chat, there were some complications that people weren't even aware of. And, you know, there's things like I was diagnosed with neuropathy, and it wasn't. 5 years later, it turned out it was MS. So if we're more aware of all of these things, we can do things to help prevent it, and we can watch out for the signs. And unless you talk about it, how are you going to know?
Exactly, yeah.
Jules, I've known you a little while. Obviously I know you've got MS, and obviously I know you've got type 1 diabetes. It never seems to stop you, especially lately, living your life, and you go off and do your things, and you go to meets, and you go to social occasions. How do you feel with in terms of the meets and the social occasions? The community with diabetes has developed kind of over the years, because you've witnessed a lot of things. I know, because you've been about in the GB doc community for quite a while. How do you feel that's developed, and how do you think it's developing? Do you think it's becoming a tighter knit community? Are we all moving off into our little cliques, do you think?
I think a lot of the people that were sort of around when the GB doc first officially started have moved away from Twitter in general. Maybe that was me. Maybe I scared them away, actually, now I think about it. But then we've got...
It was all you.
Yes. You're never to publish this, are you? Because it's like, oh no, she'll just put everybody off. I think now we've got sort of like a new wave of people coming through, and I think that the new wave are getting on really well. But it's like with any community in society, is that you do have these cliques. And I noticed with the hosting of the tweet chat, excuse me, that there are some members of the community who will only engage when there are certain people hosting. There are perhaps some bigger, more well-known names, and people then sort of start retweeting about the chat. Oh, this chat's happening, and it's X, Y, and Z is hosting, and so more people will get involved, and it's a bit of a sort of fandom thing. But when you've got, you know, Miss Average like myself hosting a chat, I think that should have just as much coverage. But it doesn't work that way, and that is society in general. I think we all have our friendship groups. I've got Twitter and the GB doc always have been an absolute game changer for me in terms of information and managing my diabetes and making friends. I've got some great friends that I've met through the GB doc, and they're lifelong friends. And then there are those that have come and gone, and that's just life, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely think it is. Because I first started using my Twitter a little bit more when I was first diagnosed, which was about 4 or 5 years ago. So when you're talking about when GB Doc first started, and I found that I used it and I got a lot of information from it, but I very much stepped away from it. It was very much, I wasn't a part of the group, because I think it was already pre-established people that knew each other and people who interacted, and there was people like yourself that would interact back with me and we would have conversations, and there's plenty of people on there that I still talk to now, but now I think there's a much more diverse group of people because it's been going so long. Newer, more different people have joined in, so there's a fair few of us that all talk to each other, that are in the gay community, that are in the GB Doc as well. There are people that have got other underlying health issues that talk a little bit more socially on topics to do with diabetes and their other health issues as well. And I think it's a lot of that is to do with the fact that nobody really sort of ignores anybody anymore. There is just that social setting. So if you don't agree with someone, that's absolutely fine, but you just have that conversation and then move away from it and go into a different conversation with somebody else because there's so much traction to it already now, which I think is great.
Yeah, definitely. I know when Jules asked me to help out with the GB Doc tweet chats, I was aware that there's some individuals kind of openly, but also in DMs, had told me that they felt excluded, that they felt on the outside, they didn't feel part of the community. So subsequently, I kind of made it my thing to find them and speak to them and invite them to be part of it, to be part of the chat, or to host the chats, to be inclusive. And I feel that I've seen new names, I've seen new subjects, but new names host those chats now, where before it seemed to be kind of, not always, but there's a lot of the same people. And they're going to come up because there's a limited amount of people who can host or who want to host. So you're going to get the same people down again. But it just seems to be a lot of, oh, that person's going to host again. Oh, that person's going to host again. When other people are tweeting, I don't feel part of this community. And all it needed, I felt, was a hand-holding exercise. I can't speak today. A hand-holding exercise where you just send them a DM to say, hi, I think maybe you'd be a good host. Maybe you should take part. Do you want to talk about anything? And usually people do. I don't know about you, Harvey. I know you've been part of GB Doc, not for that long, but it's kind of a new thing for you. Maybe if you felt excluded in any way, do you feel now that you're more included?
I don't feel like I was ever actively excluded from anything. It's not that I was, but you guys know how weird I can be on Twitter. And I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, which is absolutely fine. Sorry, but I know that there's an awful lot of people that just, if you don't have the same opinion, so if you're not tech savvy and want to be on a pump and X, Y, and Z, they just won't engage with you. They'll have a conversation with you if they have to, but there's no engagement there. I think that's less so now, and I do think that I've got to the point now where it is just social media and it doesn't matter. It's helpful to me, so I like using it. And I think I will just put my opinion forth anyway now. So I'm not really interested if somebody that doesn't normally engage with me, if they post something and I have a different opinion or I want to tag onto what it is that they're saying, I just will. It's not their choice. If they don't like it, don't have a Twitter, because Twitter is an interactive social platform. So, you know, it's one of those sorts of things. I think I've got to the point now where I'm really comfortable and I like the group of people that I follow and that follow me on Twitter. But I think for a little while it was very much that I was fighting to find the place that I felt most comfortable within Twitter, and I know that it wasn't with everybody. Which is absolutely fine, you know. I'm okay being like, you know, 7 people's favourite thing instead of 700 people's least favourite thing. You know, it doesn't matter to me at all.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a reflection on life, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all have to find a place in life where we fit in. But I know that one of the things, going back to the old GB Doc. One of the big things that happened was Team Pump versus Team MDI, which were basically 2 hashtags, and you were either a pumper or an MDIer, and there was such friction between the two, and I mean, I found it really quite bizarre, but those were the camps, and it was almost as if one was trying to be better than the other. And I know that when I sort of took over helping with the tweet chat, I wanted it to be more inclusive. And that's why we decided that instead of just having one person host all the time, that's why we want people in the community to come and host. And that's why in an ideal world, I would like everybody who takes part in any of the tweet chats to encourage everybody to get involved, to retweet, look, this chat's happening, please come and join in. Not just the, you know, perceived popular ones, but absolutely everybody. Everybody has a place in the GB.Doc community, and they should have a voice and they should be included, and that's what I would ideally like the tweet chat to be, but maybe I'm being a bit naive. I don't know.
No, like I totally get what you're saying, and I enjoy it when it's someone new on the tweet chats, because I know that it's going to be a different way of asking questions, or it's going to be a different format. It's going to be like, you know, because there's topics that get covered every once in a while. It just comes back round. You know, there's only so many things you can say about diabetes, but I think sometimes the way people say stuff can make you think about it in a different way, and it can give you a bit of a different insight to what it is that you're going through with that. So I think that it is like a massive bonus that we have like people that maybe aren't as confident but are willing to try it out and stuff like that. I think that is like a great thing. Because I think it does sometimes just open up the opportunity for you to engage in a conversation with somebody that you might never have spoken to before, but has been through an issue that's similar to yours. And I think that's a massive benefit, because you don't get that from healthcare professionals. You don't get it from going to, I don't necessarily think you get it from going to places like TAB and things like that, because it's very much here is this information, or here is my opinion, absorb it. Whereas you can interact on the tweet chats. I think that's massively important, because you can change the mind of someone that's hosting the tweet chat sometimes. You know, there's all sorts of stuff like that, and it's just about the engagement with it.